If you're watching this, I'm guessing you're probably feeling a little bit exhausted, maybe even a little lost, trying to figure out your newborn sleep. So, first things first, you are so not alone and you've come to the right place. Let's get into it. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? One nap is 20 minutes, the next is 2 hours. You think you finally found a pattern and poof, it's gone the next day. It feels like pure chaos, but I promise you, there's a very real, biological reason for every bit of it.
And this is the single most important thing to get your head around. Seriously. For a little while, just forget everything you've ever heard about strict schedules. The absolute key to understanding your newborn and to keeping your sanity is to understand their biology. We've got to stop looking at the clock and start looking at what's actually happening inside their tiny, developing bodies.
So before we even touch a timeline or talk about weeks and months, we have to start with that big why. Let's break down the one biological fact that is running the entire show when it comes to your newborn's sleep. And there it is. That's the secret. Newborns are not born with an internal clock. They have absolutely no built-in sense of day and night. So when you feel like their days and nights are totally mixed up, well, it's 'cause for them, they are. They're just living in this timeless little bubble. And that's why their sleep feels so completely random to us.
You know, this internal clock has a name. It's the circadian rhythm. And it's not something babies are born with. It's a skill they have to develop, just like they learn how to smile or roll over. It happens slowly. So please, let this sink in. There is nothing wrong with your baby. Nothing is broken. They are just on a journey, building their own internal clock from the ground up.
Okay, so with that biology lesson in our back pocket, now we can start to look at what's normal and what you can actually expect. Let's walk through that very first super critical month, week by week. So, as you can see, that first week is all about adjustment. It's just a cycle of eat, sleep, poop, repeat, all in these short little bursts. Then, in week 2, the frequent weaning continues, and you might run into something called cluster feeding, usually in the evenings, all totally normal. But then, look here at weeks 3 and 4. This is when the fog might start to lift, just a tiny bit. We're not talking a schedule, not even close, but you might start to notice these little, gentle rhythms emerging. And this is where you can start to help. Right around this time, you can begin to gently teach your baby the difference between day and night. During the day, keep the lights on, make noise, be engaging. At night, your goal is to be as boring as possible. Dim the lights, use quiet voices. You're basically acting as their external clock while their internal one gets up and running. Okay, let's talk about something that absolutely terrifies new parents in the middle of the night. You've just put the baby down, they finally seem asleep, and then the symphony begins. All the grunts, the squirming, the little whimpers. It sounds really alarming, I know, but it's very often just a normal part of how newborns sleep. Now take a look at this. It's pretty incredible. A full 50%, that's half, of a newborn's sleep is spent in what's called active sleep. It's a much lighter, noisier stage of sleep. This is when their little brains are doing a ton of work, and all that movement and noise is just a side effect. It's not just normal, it's actually a sign of healthy brain development. So, what do you do with this information? Well, your new best friend is the pause. Before you rush in to scoop them up, just wait a second, give them a minute. You'll be amazed how often they settle right back down on their own. But of course, always trust your gut. If a sound ever truly feels wrong to you, calling your doctor is never a bad idea. All right, let's move into the next phase, because just when you start feeling like you might have a handle on things, your baby's brain takes another huge leap. And you know, sometimes that development can actually make sleep feel a little bit harder before it gets easier. Around weeks 5 and 6, it's like your baby suddenly wakes up to the world. They're way more alert, more aware of everything around them. And honestly, this can be a double-edged sword. You might notice naps suddenly get shorter, or the evening fussiness really ramps up. They're just processing so much new information that it can be a little overwhelming for them. And this, right here, this is the new mantra. When sleep gets tricky during this time, please remember this. It is not a step backward, it is not a regression, it's a sign of amazing progress. Your baby's brain is growing and developing, and that is always something to celebrate, even on the tough nights. And the reward for getting through that tricky phase is right around the corner. Around 2 months, something huge happens biologically. Their little bodies actually start producing melatonin, the sleep hormone. This is where you might see the very first hints of a more predictable pattern, a clearer bedtime, maybe even one glorious, longer stretch of sleep at night. It's happening.
So, knowing all this biological stuff, what can you actually do to help? How can we gently support their sleep rhythms? And notice I said support, not force. This isn't about sleep training, it's about creating an environment that works with their biology, not against it.
So here are 5 really foundational steps. 1. Become a detective and learn their early sleepy cues, like an eye rub or a yawn. 2. Try to avoid them getting overtired by keeping things calm before sleep. 3. Keep feeding them whenever they're hungry. 4. Remember to be super boring at night. And 5. Start a simple, soothing routine, bath book, song, whatever works for you, to signal that sleepy time is coming. The key here, truly, is consistency, not perfection.
We're heading into our last section, and honestly, this might be the most important part of this whole explainer. We've talked about the biology and the timelines, but now we have to talk about what the real goal is in these first few months. I really want you to look at this number and let it sink in. Managing our own expectations is everything. While you will see little glimmers of hope along the way, the real, true consolidation of sleep, when their sleep cycles start to mature, that typically happens around 3 to 4 months, not 8 weeks, 3 to 4 months.
So if your baby isn't there yet, I need you to hear this loud and clear. You are not behind. You are not doing anything wrong. You are parenting a newborn, and that is a unique, challenging, and temporary season of life. You are exactly where you need to be.
Let's just reset our definition of success, okay? The goal of these early months is not a perfect schedule. It's not sleeping through the night. The real goals are so much simpler. Keeping your baby safe, building that deep loving connection, and just taking small steps forward together. That's it. That is the win. And that brings us to the end. So instead of worrying about the clock or the schedule, I just want to leave you with this one little thought to take with you. What is one small way you can focus on connection over perfection tonight? Maybe it's just an extra 5 seconds of a cuddle, or taking one deep breath together during a middle of the night feed. You're learning your baby, and they're learning you. You're doing great. You've got this.
Every baby develops differently, so always consult a pediatrician or qualified professional regarding your baby's sleep or health. If this video helped you feel a little more confident today, like this video and subscribe to Tiny Humans 101.